Chair recognizes a very winded Kathy Litton.
I apologize, messengers. I was on my way in an entirely another direction there, but I'm Kathy Litton. I'm a messenger from Redemption Church in Saraland, and it is my joy today to nominate Don Currents for Registration Secretary. Don is the administrative pastor at First Baptist Church of Ozark, and he served churches in Louisiana and Missouri. Let me catch my breath. Don is well known to this convention family. He served as registration secretary for 6 years, plus 10 years as an assistant. He is married to Cheetah, his wife, and he has 2 beautiful daughters, Hannah and Leah, who have often volunteered and served along their dad here at the convention. For those of you who are wondering, yes, I actually did run against Don Currents in this role in 2019. And for those of you who remember, I won this election by a mere 10 votes. So following that very narrow victory, Don and I met backstage to discuss his transition. Understandably, he was disappointed, yet he couldn't have been more gracious as he extended a generous spirit to me. What followed was Don sharing his expertise, giving me access to his records, and he even offered to serve as my assistant in the following year. He also encouraged his team, a talented group of people that serves this convention well. He encouraged them to help me. One thing I saw, he wanted Southern Baptists to be served with excellence and fairness. And every step of the way, he wanted high standards. The day that I informed Don that I was stepping down from this role because of my husband's nomination for presidency, I kept telling Ed and my friends, I wish I could nominate Don in 2021 for the registration secretary role, which I recognized was really, really awkward and unconventional. Little did I know that just a few weeks later, Don would ask me to nominate him. And I said to Don, I said, don't you think the messengers will think this is really weird? And Don said, no, Kathy, I think we will show them what cooperation looks like. And so here I am. If I haven't convinced you about Don, let me just tell you, he just started competitive powerlifting competitions. Do not mess with him, okay? Don Currents represents the best of who we are. And for that reason, I nominate him, and I urge you to vote for him for the registration secretary. Thank you.
So there's only one nomination for registration secretary, a nomination given by our new First Lady, Kathy Litton, and it is for Don Currents. And so with no other nominations, I'm going to ask John Yates to come and cast the ballot on behalf of the
Mr. President, it is my honor to cast the ballot for Don Currents as registration secretary.
Okay. We declare Don Currents to be elected. Are there nominators for the recording secretary? Chair recognizes Jonathan Hayashi, messenger from the North Hills Baptist Church in Holtz, Missouri.
Let us agree that is the gospel that changes lives. You see, gospel life is all about Jesus. The solid ground of the gospel is what would transform lives, marriages, and even communities. It must be the core of who we are. These words were spoken last fall by Dr. John Yates, the executive director of Missouri Baptist Convention. Now, there's incredible storms surrounds us. For such a time as this, we need a gospel movement. I cannot think of any better man who would fulfill this role on the top tier level of an officer of the Southern Baptist Convention. For more than 2 decades, Dr. Yates has faithfully and skillfully served Southern Baptists as recording secretary for the SBC. and his continued service is extremely valuable now. Dr. Yates gets the first thing first. He loves and points people to God's word. He has led our convention and focused our hearts on the gospel of Jesus Christ. He has shown by example of difficult times why we should not be a divided denomination, but drive the pastors towards the Great Commission with everything we have. There are only a few men I would trust the way I trust Dr. John Yates. He is a man of character and conviction, has a passion for Christ and for the Great Commission. Speaking on behalf of my next gen pastors, I am excited and thrilled by Dr. Yates' willingness to take this baton again, to take this step of faith in following God's call by serving our incredible convention. We thank you, Dr. Yates, for being all about the gospel. Dr. Yates has not only proclaimed and pointed to Christ, but displays Christ's likeness in his manner of leadership as an executive director of the Missouri Baptist Convention. He loves and prays for pastors with kindness, love, and grace. You see, the secret of Dr. Yates is his wife, Sharon Yates. She's a woman who pursues God. She has a vibrant intimacy with Jesus, and she's deeply admired by the Missouri Baptist Convention pastors. She's equally involved as Dr. Yates has a heart and serves Southern Baptist churches both in Missouri and across the nation. Although they're on the road on Sundays as state missionaries, Dr. Yates and Sharon are members and messenger of Deer Creek Baptist Church in Cuban, Missouri, which gives faithfully 10% undesignated receipt to the cooperative program. Yates give above their tithes to give regularly support the Missouri Baptist churches plants near the historically black university in Jefferson City. We as a convention must once again be known as the gospel above all. For this reason, we need a gospel movement. Dr. Yates' passion is that. For this reason, it is my tremendous honor and great joy to nominate to you Dr. Yates as the recording secretary of the Southern Baptist Convention.
Thank you, Jonathan. The chair recognizes David Miller for a nomination. David Miller, a messenger from Southern Hills Church in Sioux City, Iowa.
Southern Baptists have come to realize how desperately the executive committee needs to change. And it is my pleasure to nominate Adam Blosser as our recording secretary today as one step in the process of that change. Here are 3 reasons why I believe Adam is our right choice. Adam Blosser is the lead pastor at Goshen Baptist Church in Spotsylvania, Virginia. Married to Ashley, the father of 4 children, he is pursuing a D-Min at Southeastern Seminary. His church cooperates with the SBC of Virginia, where he serves on the state convention executive board. He leads his church to give 10% to the cooperative program with increasing Lottie Moon and Annie Armstrong offerings. First, I nominate Adam Blosser because I know him and his ministry. He was one of the key leaders in our 2017 Pastors Conference in Phoenix. I saw his competence and faithfulness in action, leading our nationwide search process. He can do this job and will serve well as recording secretary. The SBC needs the kind of leadership that skilled pastors such as Adam Blosser can provide. Second, I nominate Adam Blosser because of principle, a conviction that we share that leadership needs to pass beyond the hands of a powerful few and be shared. The recording secretary is a voting member of the executive committee. Trustees of the EC may serve 2 terms of 4 years each, total of only 8 years. The current recording secretary has served for 24 years and served well. We appreciate Dr. Yates's long and faithful service, but we believe that no one should be a voting member of the executive committee for a quarter of a century. If elected, Adam will limit himself to a term of service equal to what a trustee can serve and will advocate for term limits for that position. Finally, We are in a critical moment here in Nashville. We cannot continue to do the same things and expect different results. We have come to realize that the issues in the SBC too often find their root at the executive committee. There must be changes, and the operation of the executive committee is where those changes begin. We need to get serious and to do something now. Change in the SBC comes slowly. Appointments, nomination. But here's one way we can make a difference right here today. We can elect Adam Blosser as our recording secretary. I ask you to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, David. So both Adam Blosser and John Yates have been nominated. Are there any further nominations? Okay, there are none. These two men are nominated, but the chair has been watching what he believes to be a quorum dissipate. A quorum would be 3,900 or so messengers here. And so we're going to postpone that election until tomorrow morning. Both men are already nominated, but the actual voting will take place tomorrow morning. The chair now recognizes Dr. Lily Park, who is going to come and give one of the most welcome and beloved prayers